Have you always wanted to play a barbarian but never did because it lacks AoE? Well, today we have an answer for you. I present you the dual FoH Proc Whirlwind Barbarian. The pros of this build is that it's extremely fast. You can do a T1 map in less than 5 minutes. You'll see in the video that I never even have to re-BO as I run a T1 map. Tier 3 maps take about 6 to 8 minutes, really depending on the density and the mods in the map, so they're kind of harder to time a little bit. The build absolutely kills everything, and it kills everything off screen as well because of the massive AoE from Fist of Heavens. It looks fun, it feels fun, the whole screen lights up, so people will definitely notice you and ask what build you're running, so it's definitely a show-off build. And the only con to the build really is that it is pretty expensive to get off the ground. Between the dual asylums and the innocents, it's 11 high runes for the Barb. If you want the same setup on the Merc, the total is 18.5 high runes, and that's before you get to the corruptions on the items. Now let's take a look at the items. And first off, we have what makes this build work. It's the Asylum. It has a pretty high proc chance of 25% for FoH, as well as a Sanctuary Aura, which provides Magic Pierce. Plus, all the other stats are great on it. It's plus to all skills, high AD, ignore target defense, and it freezes everything. Obviously, the hard part about rolling this is the Cham Jaw, but also finding a 6-socket Colossal Blade with 14 to 15% AD can be tricky. And of course, you need 2 of them, which gets even trickier. And the third part that makes this build work is the Innocence armor, particularly the Blade Shield, which hits every few seconds as it spins around you, which gives you another proc of the 2 swords. As a result, the higher the density, the faster you're spinning, the more procs you get, and you basically light up the whole screen with Fist of Heavens. From here, the gear is pretty basic. It's an Ariad's face, primarily because you need all reses, and that's the easiest place to get it. Then you have an Atmos Scarab for the amp damage proc, as well as an enhanced damage corruption. You could also run a High Lords in the slot. Then we have a pair of Gore Riders with a Magic Find corruption. You could also be running War Traps in the slot if you want. Then we have a Magic Find Ravenfrost. Obviously you need Cannot Be Frozen. Then we have String of Ears for lifesteal, damage reduction, as well as more MF. Then we have this incredible 14 max damage, dual leech, all res, and life after each kill ring. I'm just going to leave it up here so we can all appreciate it for a moment. And lastly, we have a pair of soul drainers with another enhanced damage corruption. And the charm setup is pretty basic. It's a torch, an Annie, max damage AR, life, grand charms, and then for the small charms you have to fill out your reses plus any extra MF or damage that you want to add. On the Merc, we have another Asylum. Ideally this is F, but one of mine didn't roll that well, so I wound up re-rolling it and giving him the spare one. Then he's got also an Innocence for the same logic that we're wearing one. And then you basically want to stack IAS, so Andes paired with a Drax, which is then paired with a Nos. And lastly, a pair of Mermans just so he can keep up with you. And I am running an Act 5 Might Merc for extra physical damage. For the stats, you basically put enough strength and dex to wear your gear. Everything goes into vitality. As you see, the sheet damage here is pretty low, but as you'll see from the gameplay, that doesn't really matter. For the skills, it's your basic Whirlwind setup, so you max Whirlwind, and if you want extra speed, you can buff up your Frenzy. For masteries, you max your weapon 1, and then a couple of points into Iron Skin, natural reses, and speed, just to make it more user-friendly. And lastly, you max battle command and battle orders. That is it for the guide portion. I will now show you me running a T1 map in under 5 minutes. Thank you for stopping by. If you haven't already, I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers, so please drop a like, drop a follow, Every little bit helps, and I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next week.